How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Battlefield 2042 video. Now, with Battlefield's early access launch coming this Friday, just a couple days away, I figured I would give you guys my final thoughts and expectations going into this game's launch. Now, I do expect that they're going to make some good changes from the beta, but I also at the same time realize that we're dealing with EA and DICE here, and they both are definitely known for having bad reputations when it comes to releasing new games. There's always some sort of controversy, or games are filled with bugs and glitches, or you name it. But in this video, I'm just going to give you guys my predictions for how I think this release is going to go. Now, there's three major concerns I have for this game's launch that I want to talk about individually. The first thing I want to talk about is the specialist. It's pretty well known now that a lot of the community is pretty divided with the whole specialist system, and I'm waiting until the game's released to give my full opinion on them. But based off of what I saw in the beta, if they keep everything exactly the same as the way it was in the beta, which I'm sure they're not going to, but if they did, then I definitely would not like the specialist system. I think the specialist is going to bring a lot of problems to the game in general. You're going to run into the problem of everybody looking the same with cosmetics. It's going to be hard to tell who's on what team. It's going to look really weird when you have two opposing factions, but everyone's playing the same characters. And then you're also going to run into the problem with balancing. A lot of people haven't really thought about this, but look at Battlefront 2, for example. When Star Wars Battlefront 2 was out, they had tons of balancing issues, where anytime that game would release a new hero or villain to that game, they would constantly have to do balancing, nerfing, buffing to make all the characters sort of equal. And I feel like the specialist in Battlefield 2042 is just going to be a non-stop battle between who's overpowered, who's underpowered. There's going to constantly be this meta where everybody picks the same specialist because that individual specialist has the best abilities, or they see the highest win ratio or the highest kill ratio. So the specialists definitely have me worried. If I was to make a prediction, I'm going to guess that a lot of people are just going to get used to the specialists and they're not going to be that big of a deal. And I'm willing to bet that most of the majority of players aren't really going to care about the specialists in general. They're just going to, run around and shoot things and just blow things up in the battlefield and just have fun. So I don't think the specialist is going to be that big of a problem when it comes to the game's release. So the second thing I want to talk about in terms of concerns is this game's actual state of launch. EA and DICE are both known for having some pretty rough launches. If you go back and you look at Star Wars Battlefront 2 or Battlefield 5 or Battlefield 4, you name it, if DICE and EA are both involved, something normally goes wrong. I remember Battlefield 4 was broken for the longest time after its launch. It was like a complete disaster. Battlefield 5 had their controversies where they straight up told players if they don't like the game, don't buy it, and then players didn't buy it. With Star Wars Battlefront 2, they had their loot box controversy and their microtransactions, and something always goes wrong with a launch of a DICE game for some reason. They always try to either push the boundaries or release a game too early, and it's buggy and glitchy. And we have to keep in mind that this game has been worked on the past 2 years during this global pandemic, so a lot of people have been working on this game from home. And based off of all my experience with DICE games don't exactly work right when the developers are in the studio and they're working at their job. So if you have most of the development team working from home and everybody's communicating via email and everything's getting sent in piece by piece, and you have all these developers not working together as much as they should have over the past couple years, I'm not gonna lie, that definitely has me pretty concerned knowing that a lot of DICE employees have been working from home on this game. Like I said, based off of my past experiences with DICE games, they're just always buggy and glitchy, and I hope that this game's not buggy and glitchy at launch, I really do. But if I was to give my prediction, I think there's definitely going to be some sort of bugs, either graphical bugs or some sort of bug that will make something extremely overpowered, or you name it, something's going to come up and it probably won't get fixed for a couple months. I predict that this game probably won't feel very polished for another 4 to 5 months after the game's release. So the next concern I have for the final game is in regards to its microtransactions, and this is where EA comes into play. EA is extremely scummy when it comes to microtransactions. They already charge an arm and a leg for anything that you go to buy in Apex Legends. At least Apex Legends is a free-to-play game. Battlefield 2042 is a full-price game. It's already going to come with a battle pass, which, it's got the free version of the battle pass, but then it also has the paid version of the battle pass, and I'm sure they're going to try to to have a million different types of cosmetics that you can buy for your characters and your tanks and your weapons, and I mean, you name it, there's going to be a ton of cosmetics. I just hope that they don't make it too over the top. I mean, this is a full price game. I think in a full price game, you should be able to have the option to unlock every single cosmetic option in the store for some sort of in-game currency. If a game's free to play, then yeah, sure, I understand spending real money. They have to pay for the game somehow because, you know, it's free to play. But in a full price $60 to $70 game, there needs to be the option to unlock pretty much everything in the microtransaction store with some sort of in-game currency. I know they're not going to do that. I'm just giving you my opinion there. I hope that they don't get too overboard with the microtransactions because EA has definitely done it in the past. So now I want to give my predictions on the individual game modes. We have Hard Zone, and then we have All Out Warfare, which is the main base game, and then we have Battlefield Portal. So if I was to give my predictions on the game modes, I think that the Battlefield 2042 All Out Warfare, the base game mode, it's got all the new maps and all the new content, I think that's probably going to be still the most popular mode. I know a lot of people are looking forward to Portal, but I feel like Portal's going to be more community driven, and it's going to come down to like a lot of custom modes that a lot of the community is going to make, and I just don't feel like the average casual player is going to get that into Portal. I think that Battlefield 2042's All Out Warfare, the base game where people can just load up the game, click on the quick match button, and just get loaded into a match, I think that's still going to be the most popular mode. It's going to have all-out battles, it's going to have the specialists. I just think with my prediction, that's going to be the most popular mode. But then when it comes to Hazard Zone, if I had to guess, I'm willing to bet that Hazard Zone is probably just that, third game mode that they added in to make it look like there's additional content to sort of add fluff to the game. I don't think Hazard Zone is going to be very popular. I could be completely wrong, and maybe Hazard Zone is going to be the most popular mode in the entire game, and if that's the case, I'll admit that I'm wrong. But based off of what I've seen off of Hazard Zone and reading the different comments on YouTube and Reddit and seeing how the community reacted to Hazard Zone, I can tell it's not going to be that popular, especially since it's an extraction mode and your objective isn't to go around and to get as many kills as possible. And it's very squad based. You have to have communication, and when you're playing an online first-person shooter, unless you have a lot of friends, communication isn't normally something that you see in most first-person shooters. I feel like Hazard Zone is going to be just like the next Firestorm from Battlefield 5, where, they tried the Battle Royale and it didn't work out. Hazard Zone is just like this extraction mode where you go in and you get the intel and then you try to leave. I feel like with Battlefield, a lot of people are just going to stick to the all-out warfare and, run around blowing stuff up. Now, when it comes to Portal mode, I do think Portal is going to be popular. I just don't think it's going to be as popular as the base game, as the All-Out Warfare. I think Portal is going to have longevity. A lot of the hardcore fans and, the big communities that normally rent out servers and stuff, a lot of the hardcore Battlefield players are going to really, really enjoy Portal. I just hope that Portal continues to get a bunch of support after the game's release. So I think All Out Warfare is going to be the most popular, I think Portal will be the second popular, and then I think Hazard Zone will be the third most popular. So the next thing I want to talk about is the game's map sizes. I had this concern in the beta with the map Orbital. I felt that it was too big, so I am concerned that in the full game that some of these maps that are just absolutely ginormous, I do feel like they're going to be too big. I feel like there's going to be a lot of aimlessly running around out in the open, and the only time you're going to find anybody is just bots. I feel like a lot of the player base is going to stick to some general area. They're probably going to fight in whatever the most popular section of the map is, and then anytime you go outside of those boundaries, if you're on like the edge of the map capturing some sort of like far out outpost, you're probably not going to see much action. That's just my prediction. I could be wrong. Maybe the maps are going to feel well populated and they're going to be an absolute blast, but that's just what I think is going to happen in this final game. So I do think this game is going to have good gunplay and good vehicle gameplay, and I do think it's going to be a lot of fun, but like I said, I do have those concerns. Basically, in summary, I think Hazard Zone's not going to be as popular. All Out Warfare is going to be the most popular. Portal mode is going to be the second most popular, and then I feel like EA is going to step in, probably do something scummy with their microtransactions, try to push the limit, push the boundaries a little bit too far. And then I also feel that DICE is probably going to have, you know, a rough start. There's either going to be graphical issues, gameplay issues, some sort of bugs and glitches that sort of ruins the experience for everybody. Because if I was to take bets, after being burned by EA and DICE so many times, it would be pretty foolish of me to bet for EA and DICE, because they just don't get it right very often. I've been fooled by DICE so many times that they're just not going to fool me anymore. So I guess going into this game, I have lowered expectations, which is probably for the better. If I went in with too high of expectations, I feel like this game might make me angry. So, you know, realistically, I'm going in lowering my expectations and just hoping for the best. But those are my thoughts going into Battlefield 2042 coming out this Friday. I will be streaming the crap out of it and making a ton of videos as of Friday. So if you guys are new here, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. That way you guys don't miss out on any Battlefield 2042 content. If you guys want to follow me on Twitch, I stream at SwanyPlaysGames live. So hopefully I see you guys there. And that is going to do it for me, everyone. And I will talk to you all in the next video.